It's going to be practice. Go ahead.
And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south.
Mm-hmm.
And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains, where the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Esau. Yea, you shall flee, like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Yehudah. And Yahweh my Elohim shall come, and all the saints with you.
Uh-huh.
And it shall come to pass in that day, that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day, which shall be known to Yahweh, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And Yahweh shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Yahweh, and his name one.
And one of the main things that we hear all the time is he has many names. And then they give us a whole bunch of titles. He's wonderful. He's counselor. He's this. A whole bunch of titles. None of them are names. But he cleared this up. No, you ain't gonna call me all them strange things. You gonna call me by my name. You gonna magnify my name. You gonna honor my name. Go ahead.
All the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Ramon, south of Jerusalem. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place, from Benjamin's gate onto the place of the first gate, onto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananeel onto the king's wine presses. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited.
Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. Safely inhabited by who? It's not safely inhabited now. And it surely is not safely inhabited by anybody who has melanin. Any kind of melanin makes you an enemy in the so-called Holy Land. But Yahweh's word says something different. He said, you know the heart of a stranger. You know the heart of a servant. You know the heart of one who's been in bondage. So surely, you're not going to act like that. Go ahead.
And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahweh shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor.
We're talking about total chaos. Go ahead.
And Yehudah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance.
So you're talking about some pretty deep things here. And Yehudah also shall fight at Jerusalem. You're talking about a nation of people who have not fought collectively in over 2,000 years. Now, ask yourself, when he says Yehudah, you got a tribe of Yehudah, and then you got a house of Yehudah. We talking about Benjamin, Judah, and Levi as the house. So, the only thing they say they got in Israel is what?
Judah.
They'll mention Judah and Benjamin. I think it's real strange that you are supposed to be a kingdom of priests, but ain't no priest. How you be a kingdom of priests, but you ain't got no priest? But everybody wants us to get our direction from them. Wait a minute, even by your own statement, you have Benjamin and Judah. Why would I listen to you about priestly things and you telling me that you don't know where the priestly tribe is? Go ahead.
When you look at verse 12, a lot of times we're looking at things that happen all at once and not thinking of something kind of just gaining momentum, right?
Uh-huh.
It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh shall smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away. Are they not suffering from skin cancer?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, verse 15. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents, as this plague.
Well, you have to consider something, bro. Why do you think a lot of the places, especially where people have conquered, where they are not native to that land, they go and get servants to go and do that work? Come on, man. We ride down the street. These folk own this place. How many of them you see on the side of the road paving it? Brother, I'm not trying to sit in that sun all day. You crazy? Now you see a whole bunch of us. And we be about to darken that tar that we putting down. But guess what? They can handle every last bit of that sun. And they in it all day, every day. Nobody else doing that. When you look, you see one of their foremen, he up under a tent. Over there. What? He point. Yeah, y'all do that part. Come on out here, boss. No. Y'all go ahead. Right. They have to get some other people to come and do that work because they cannot handle that sun day in, day out. Why you think they had to go get some slaves? They couldn't have worked that land. And they couldn't enslave the Indians in their own land. The Indians go left, come back right. They know the land. You can't do that. You got to get some people who don't know where they are. They run right into your cousin. And all they do is bring you back. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
Right. Now, what at this point, Israel runs pretty much everything. Everybody agree with them. How is the whole world going to come again? How are all these nations going to come against Israel all of a sudden? Right now, they are, okay, the people in the so-called made-up Middle East have a problem with Israel. No. It's just all these nations are going to send somebody. Why would they do that? What would make Israel be at a point where all the nations are saying, we'll send people for this? Same thing they do it now. What happened? Too many of y'all show up on the corner store. What? Here they come. Here come the popo. What happened? Too many of y'all. Too many of us show up. And all the nations is sending somebody. Why? They say, oh, y'all look like the jig is up. They done found out. Everybody send somebody to go help this fight. As my elder used to say, you the bait for the trap. Go ahead.
Brother, I was thinking about this today. With verse 16, we know that, the time is going to come where they're all going to send their representative during this time to supply and support Israel. Mm-hmm. Practice makes perfect, doesn't it?
Yep.
They're already doing it.
Yep.
They're just giving it to the wrong people.
Giving it to the wrong people. They're giving it to the wrong people. Yep. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep bringing it to the same place. Go ahead.
And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up, and come not up, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith Yahweh shall smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
You have to see the seriousness in something when the future kingdom and Yahweh is talking about how much punishment he's going to give to people who will not respect your authority. What do you think that Feast of Tabernacles is about? You got to come and make your appearance, and you need to bring an offering. He said, if they don't come up and offer that offering, and they need to come to you. And understand how this works. The whole world ain't coming. Their leaders coming. Every leader from every country come. Bring, because every last one of y'all had a part in ruling over my people one way or another. Now come, present yourself and bring your offering. Y'all don't understand what we're going to be a part of. So when you say practice make perfect, same with us. We got to practice it. Because we're going to be the ones receiving. We got to practice and know. Let me tell you something. When you done something, you know when somebody else ain't doing it right. They can say whatever they want to say. You can look at it and be like, boy, stop. What that is? What they do that at? That ain't it. Take that back. Take that back, start over, and come back. You tell your kids to clean up the room, and they get everything and throw it in the closet, and they tell you, they looking at you all big-eyed. You go straight to that closet. Pull that closet door, and lose yourself in all the clothes that they done stacked up in there. And you pull all the clothes out, put them back on the floor, and say, try it again. Why you think Yahweh makes sure that you go through certain things? Do you understand what he did with Moshe? All right, now go live in Pharaoh's house. What kind of cruel joke was that? The same people who kill my people. You gonna make me live with the people, the destroyers of my heritage? They even talk about my people amongst themselves while I'm sitting there. I know. I need you to hear all that. I need you to hear every last bit of it. I need you to know why they do what they do. So when you get ready to rule over my people, the way I'm going to set you to do, you going to know they sin before they even finish. When they start gathering the stuff to put it together, you going to already know. Go ahead.
This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. In that day there shall be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto Yahweh, and the pots in Yahweh's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Yehuda shall be holiness unto Yahweh of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seed therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of Yahweh of hosts.
All right, let's go to Zechariah chapter 8. So you have a whole lot of people who will say to you, you know, what is this Feast of Tabernacles that you keep here? You know, y'all back keeping this some Old Testament stuff. From what we just read, they're going to know a whole lot about tabernacles at that point. Or they're going to know a whole lot about it when he make them come up and keep it. Zechariah chapter 8, we're going to start that at verse 1.
Again, the word of Yahweh of hosts came to me, saying, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus says Yahweh, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of Yahweh of hosts, the holy mountain.
Now, if Yahweh is going to dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, you got to understand, there's a whole lot of stuff that he had to remove away from us. Or else we're going to have some problems. Go ahead.
Thus says Yahweh of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age.
What age? Because see, we get to the point where we think 100 is old. I mean, if you're 100 years old, we say, you know, man, that person has lived a full life. According to this book, a child shall die at 100 years old. You're 100 years old, they were like, why did that child die? 100 is a child? Yeah, when you consider that folks were living 900 plus years. 100 is a child. Go ahead.
And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, says Yahweh of hosts. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, behold, I'll save my people from the east country and from the west country.
Not I'm going to save my people from one country. Go ahead.
And I'll bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I'll be their El, in truth and in righteousness.
If he's going to be our El in truth and righteousness, then a whole lot of things that's in the so-called Holy Land going to have to go. Go ahead.
Thus says Yahweh of hosts, let your hands be strong. You that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of Yahweh of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. For before these days there was no hire for man, nor any hire for beast, neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. For I set all men, every one against his neighbor. But now I will not be unto the residue of this people, as in the former days, says Yahweh of hosts. For the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give her dew, and I'll cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. And it shall come to pass, that as you are a curse among the heathen, O house of Yehuda and house of Israel, so will I save you, and you shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, as I thought to punish you when your fathers provoked me to wrath, says Yahweh of hosts, and I repented not, so again have I thought in these days to do well unto Jerusalem and to the house of Yehuda. Fear you not. These are the things that you shall do. Speak you every man the truth to his neighbor.
Right. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how many languages you can speak. I don't care how many things you decide you have unearthed. You can be an archaeologist for all I care. It ain't going to do nothing for Yahweh. Speak you the truth. Yeah, you know all this good stuff. That's fine and dandy. Stop lying. Go ahead.
Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor. And love no false oath. For all these are things that I hate, says Yahweh. And the word of Yahweh of hosts came on to me, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th month, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th, shall be to the house of Yehuda joy and gladness and cheerful feast. Therefore, love the truth and peace.
Every time we had something go on, we have another fast we mourning for this. We mourn for this. So with we're commemorating all the bad situations that have happened unto us. Y'all say, no. We're not going to do that no more. Go ahead.
Thus says Yahweh of hosts, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people and the inhabitants of many cities. And the inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, let us go speedily to pray before Yahweh and to seek Yahweh of hosts. I will go also.
Right. But for that to happen, there has to be a group of people who will allow people from other nations to enter into the land. How they going to come pray before you and they can't come in? Go ahead.
Yes, many people and strong nations shall come to seek Yahweh of hosts in Jerusalem and to pray before Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all the languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Yehudi, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you.
And it is going to throw us off majorly. When you get to the point where all the nations have reacted and walked away when they saw you. The nations have been programmed to clutch their purse when they see you. The nations have been and you know what's funny? It's folk that steal 10 times more than us. But they've been programmed to clutch their purse when they see you. They look up and they say, oh yeah, you know, those people are, you know, they all criminals. When their whole criminal industrial complex that they put together was all about making us slaves again. They have actually bought their own propaganda. The propaganda was so good that they believed. It's one thing when you lie to somebody else. It's something altogether different when you lie to yourself. They've lied so good that their children and their grandchildren believe the lie. So that when these things are set forth in the earth, they are going to be completely dismayed. Because they actually believe the falsehood. And it ain't the lie that hurt you. It's the belief in the lie that hurt you. When you realize how much you believed in the lie, that's what hurt you. The lie ain't really that painful. Go ahead, brother. You finished that?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 60.
You know what's funny? The first time one of them walk on and clutch onto your arm and say, where are you going, brother? What the hell? Gonna be looking for cameras. Where the cameras at?
Hey, because we have gotten accustomed to a certain type of treatment. We have gotten accustomed. You know, it's gonna throw us off. I'm telling you. It's going to throw us off when the people say, I want to go with you. Where you going? But isn't that what Yahweh's words say? As you were hated of all nations, I'm going to make you beloved. I'm going to change all that and turn it around. Isaiah chapter 60, and let's start that at verse 1.
Arise, shine, for your light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon you. For, behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you.
Yahweh shall arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you. The nations don't really want that. They've spent a lot of time setting up the way that they want the earth to go. This whole feast of tabernacles does not fare well for the heathen. He knows I'm going to have to give honor unto the true children of Israel. So as when we see something in talking about tabernacle, we might see one thing. But there's a whole other side of the things that we are not seeing when it comes down to tabernacle. We're talking about what we read in Zechariah 14. We're talking about a true transfer of power. I don't know what you are seeing when you are reading about tabernacle. We're talking the children of Israel has been atoned for by Yahshua, and then it's time to tabernacle. We're talking about a transfer of power. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
You're right there.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 3.
Verse 3. Go ahead.
And the Gentiles shall come to your light.
And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Wait a minute. Transfer of power is happening here. They ain't looking at this and looking forward to it. Go ahead.
Lift up your eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to you.
They coming to you. Go ahead.
Your sons shall come from far, and your daughters shall be nursed at your side.
Uh-huh.
Then you shall see and flow together, and your heart shall fare and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted onto you.
Uh-huh.
The forces of the Gentiles shall come onto you.
What are the forces of the Gentile? Not just their riches. Their technology too. What are you talking about? Yeah, we say, oh, congratulations. That is nice. Go get it to my son. That is nice. It's nice. So you press the button and you shoot it and it go around the corner. Oh, that is so nice. Yeah, get out the Naphtali. Go ahead. That is nice. Go ahead.
The multitude of camels shall cover you, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Yahweh. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto you. The rams of Naboth shall minister unto you. They shall come up with the acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory.
Uh-huh.
Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the eyes shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring your sons from far.
Right. Wait a minute. Tarshish is Spain. Them same Spanish ships that took you and spread you all across the place. He said, all right, now take them back. Go get them and take them back. But ain't that how Yahweh work? He let them take all your riches. And then tell them, all right, now go get that stuff. Now go get it back. Go ahead.
You know, when you speak of Spain, and we know the famous three, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Mm-hmm. He said, go get them. Go get when you the one, because see, Spain had a vendetta against us. Had a vendetta against our people. And Yahweh got a vendetta. And he going to take care of his business. Go ahead.
Their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahweh your El, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he has glorified you. And the sons of the strangers shall build up your walls.
Now, hey, you done all the work you going to do. You get to be the foreman. Or the one who directs the foreman. Look, hey, yeah, that wall right there. Wait a minute, we already did our service. This is what people don't understand. You either work now or you work later. When you want to work. Go ahead.
You know, when it goes back to verse 5, it says the forces of the Gentiles, and he's breaking it down. He's going from the monetary force right down to the workforce.
So you're not gonna do that? The sons of the stranger are gonna plant your vegetables. Now remember, we was the ones who had to tend to everybody's farm. We were the ones that had to do all that. He said, oh, no, you're not doing that no more. No, you already did your work. Go ahead.
And their kings shall minister unto you. For in my anger I smote you, but in my favor have I had mercy on you. Therefore your gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto you the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought.
Therefore your gates shall be open continually. Man, if your gates are open continually, he said, look, don't worry about protection. No, I need these gates open because, I mean, look, the money got to come in all night. You go to sleep. I'll count it for you while you sleep. You ever go to one of them port cities and just sit there and watch them ships come in? You might be asleep. About $5 billion came in last night. You ever seen one of them containers up close? When it's got 18-wheeler cargo and it's stacked It don't even look like it ought to stay in the water. It looked like it ought to hit the bottom and that's it. It don't even look like it ought to stay afloat. And if you sit down one of them right there, right by, if you get one of them hotels, right, you just watch them go. And watch them come. And you realize this is billions of dollars on one ship. That's one ship. It is so much stuff stacked on it. The port ain't closed. There's a transfer of goods happening constantly. I said, okay, yeah. Leave them gates open. Go ahead.
Verse 12. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
For the nation and kingdom who will not serve you shall perish. I don't know what other people have going on when they see tabernacles. I see a transfer of power. Go ahead.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto you, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I'll make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto you.
This bothers people greatly. This bothers people greatly. You have to be careful where you, if you read this in the wrong place, it may start a fight. Go ahead.
And all they that despised you shall bow themselves down at the soles of your feet.
But you see how he takes care of both sides. He says, the sons of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto you. And all they that despised you. Hold on. See, there's some who mistreated you and used you. There's others that just despised you. They didn't touch you. No. I got them too. Go ahead.
And they shall call you the city of Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas you have been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through you, I'll make you an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. You shall also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breast of kings.
And you look at that and you say, what kind of sense does that make? Remember, our people had to breastfeed the children of the master. To the point where there's no more milk for a slave woman and her child. Because her milk went to master's children. Go ahead.
And you shall know that I, Yahweh, am your Savior and your Redeemer, the mighty one of Yaakov. For brass, I'll bring gold, and for iron, I'll bring silver, and for wood, brass, and for stones, iron. I will also make your officers peace, and your exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in your land, wasting nor destruction within your borders. But you shall call your walls salvation, and your gates praise. The sun shall be no more your light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto you. But Yahweh shall be unto you an everlasting light, and your El your glory. Your sun shall no more go down, neither shall your moon withdraw itself. For Yahweh shall be your everlasting light, and the days of your mourning shall be ended. Your people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh, will hasten it in his time. When you read verse 22, you kind of understand why he said, I may just need, 2 of a city and 1 of a family. A little one shall become 1,000. Those whom I choose, are they going to be fruitful and multiply? See, I don't need everybody from your family. I don't need but 1 or 2. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11, and let's start that at verse 1. I say then, as Elohim cast away his people, Elohim forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
I say then, has Elohim cast away his people? Elohim forbid. He has not cast away his people. So when we talk about our tabernacle, and we're talking about something on a whole nother level. We're talking about him gathering our brothers and our sisters from all over the globe. Even some of them brothers and sisters that we don't get along with, they still our brothers and sisters. And we still gonna have to gather. And we might have had all our differences and all of those things. Let me tell you something. Yahweh allows some things for a time. But when he said that's it, that's it. See, a father may sit on the porch and watch his sons fight for a little bit. But when they get out of hand, he stepped down and said, that's enough. And when he said that's enough, swing one more time if you want to. Pass one more lick. One more, just one more again. One more. You gonna learn today. Y'all gonna do the same thing with us. Hey, I let y'all wrestle with each other. I let y'all throw each other around, but you know what? It's time. It's time. Y'all got to go to the rightful place of what I got for you, and y'all got to act like you got some sense. So there might be a whole lot of other brothers who we don't really care to be around at this point. When Yahweh does, you got to understand what tabernacling is. He started bringing all these people together. Understand, he's not just bringing the people from around the corner. He started bringing the brothers who may be in Nigeria and in Ghana and Europe. Wait a minute, all these people got different ways. All these people grew up differently. And now we gonna be tabernacling with people who do things differently. We have to find our common ground in what's written. And some things that we might have gotten accustomed to. We might get to a place and say, oh no, we can't do that. And please don't think we just gonna wake up and say no place like home and we gonna wake up in Israel. That is not how that's gonna happen. Some of them same places we're gonna have to walk through that. Remember how they had to ask, can I go through your land? And some people said yes, some people said no. Okay. Yahweh is also training us and purging us through that process. So you think you're just going to buy you a ticket and you just going to wait for everybody in Israel? I'm telling you, you got another thing coming. Because if you miss that 3-day sanctification, that 3 years, if you miss that sanctification of 3, you're going to die anyway. Because the Spirit not going to be able to use you. You got to be sanctified before you appear. Yahweh know what he's doing. We can't just zip tang go in there. No. Where's your sanctification at? Go ahead.
Verse 2. Elohim has not cast away his people which he foreknew. Know you not what the scripture saith of Elias? How he makes intercession to Elohim against Israel, saying, Adonai, they have killed your prophets and dig down your altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of Elohim unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal.
That ain't a whole lot when you counting over the earth. That's it. He said, no, I got me a remnant. Yahweh keeps him a remnant. Those people are the people that's going to follow according to what he has set forth. Go ahead.
Even so then at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. And if by grace, then is it no more of works. Otherwise grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise work is no more work.
We're not doing this. Not going to be animal sacrifice that's going to do this for us. No. Go ahead.
What then? Israel has not obtained that which he seeks for, but the election has obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, Elohim has given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, on to this day.
Right. So there are times when you are trying your best to explain something to somebody, and you just can't figure out, man, these are so intelligent people. How is it that they just can't get this? That's because you can't see the spirit. You don't see that the spirit doesn't close their eyes and their ears. No matter what words you say. You can speak in 8 different languages. They're not going to hear you. Go ahead.
And Dawid said, let their table be a snare, be made a snare and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back alway. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Elohim forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
So, if the fall of Israel is the rise of the Gentiles, then we see things that we can go into this book and read the prophecy that the time of the Gentiles is opposite the rule of Israel. You have to then ask yourself, how can Israel be ruling at the time that the Gentiles are also ruling? Wait a minute, this equation is not making any sense. How does that happen? Because, now we're reading New Testament. Now we clearly see a definition, a defining line between the rulership of Israel and the rulership of the Gentiles. And we understand that the Gentiles are in power at this point. We understand that. So how does Israel rule if the Gentiles rule? How does Israel possess a land in the middle of Gentile rulership? The same Gentile, by the way, who came in and knocked the place down to the bedrock. How do we turn around and get back in power, if indeed that was the people who were there when the invasion happened? How do they get back in power while the same people are ruling? Something sounds peculiar. Keep reading.
Brother, even if you look at it, right? Look how over in the land, Ham don't even have rulership. As much as they fighting to take care, to run their countries, they don't have rulership.
Nope. As many of the wonderful resources that are in the land of Ham, in the land of so-called Africa, they don't even have control of their own resources. All they let Africans do is go in there and dig and get the resources. They can't use it. They can't manufacture anything. They are completely cut off from making anything. And you have to give some thought to why would that be? You know how much these people like cheap labor? Now, why would you go make the cheapest labor, but you won't use it? You've made the place in such a way that you're getting the materials absolutely dirt cheap, cheaper than dirt. Dirt is more expensive than what they are getting the resources for. But they won't use the cheap labor. They got 8, 9-year-old little boys in caves. It would be financially lucrative to then set up a factory right beside the mine. No. See, this ain't about money. Africa must never rise while the Gentiles are ruling. So then we have to ask a question. how does so-called Israel get to rule hand in hand with the Gentiles during Gentile rulership? Yahweh said those rulerships are opposite. Go ahead.
Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world,
Uh-huh.
and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
Uh-huh.
If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be, but life from the dead?
Uh-huh.
For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy, and if the root be holy, so are the branches.
If the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. Go ahead.
And if some of the branches be broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them.
No, all right. So you have to understand something. Verse 16. For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, then you, being a wild olive tree, understand something. They're not a part of any of that. They're not the branch, they're not the lump, they're not the root. They are a whole nother tree. I said you were grafted into the tree. You were not a part of the tree. So be careful how you come amongst the tree. Go ahead.
And with them partaketh of the root and the fatness of the olive tree. Boast not against the branches, but if you boast, you beareth not the root, but the root you. You will say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and you standeth by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not you.
Now, that's going to be a hard concept to get somebody to understand when they've been told once saved, always saved. They say, look, I've already been saved, so I am always saved. Go ahead.
You know, back at 17 it says, and with them partaketh of the root and the fatness of the olive tree.
Mm-hmm.
That means all the nourishment and sustenance that you're getting is coming from the root up to the tree.
Uh-huh. Right. But understand, Laban understood that just having Jacob as a servant was blessing him. So much, in fact, that he went in an evil way to keep him a servant. Man, when somebody has reached the highest peak of their arrogance, they get to the point where they don't recognize how they're being fed. Sometimes it happens in houses. All of a sudden you got a kid, you done bought everything for, you done do something, the kid's like, what have you brought for? You. When you get to the point that these individuals are starting to believe that their own lie, that they have done this. You got to think about it. When somebody can build a whole country and then they say, you know, them people lazy. That's what happened when the individuals are believing their own lie. You actually, you sat back and watched somebody build a whole house. When they put the last lock on the door, you came over and said, man, y'all lazy. What? This is how they operate. So they've gotten to the point where they believe that. That's going to hurt when they figure out that's not the truth. That's going to hurt. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Elohim.
Right. We want to deal with the goodness, but never the severity. Go ahead.
On them which fell, severity, but toward you, goodness, if you continue in his goodness, otherwise you also shall be cut off.
If you continue in his goodness, this is why we got to keep walking. You may fall, you got to get back up. Go ahead.
And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for Elohim is able to graft them in again. For if you were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted in contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
Wait a minute. So blindness in part has happened unto Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. Daniel already told us the fullness of the Gentiles that they have a prophesied time to rule. So while they are ruling, blindness in a large part is over Israel. This is why people are starting to come to the understanding of who we are. Why? Because the Gentiles' fullness is about to be complete. So more of us are hearing the word, which then brings about my earlier question. How can Israel be ruling if they're supposed to be in blindness and darkness during the rule of the Gentiles? Scripture don't even make sense if you don't include us in it. It just does not make sense. How are you doing this at a time that you're supposed to be blind? But they will boast to you how long they've been speaking the language and that their ancestors were in the land. It don't match what's in the Old Testament or what's in the New. Okay, brother, you finish that?
And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
Right, and so all Israel shall be saved. But we also must remember, they are not all Israel who are of Israel. Okay, so don't get that twisted. Don't read that and go run off and get yourself yoked up. Don't read that and say, well, you know what? I ain't got to do nothing. I'm Israel. I'm going to be saved. Don't get it twisted. Remember, there's goodness and severity. You shall behold the goodness if you continue in. But if we get to the point where we start feeling ourselves and we start having these Israelite pep rallies, we're going to be in the same boat as our ancestors. Same boat as our forefathers, where he got to cut us off just to prove a point. Let it not be so with us. So as it is written, 3 times in the year, all males must make an appearance before Yahweh. We are set up and ready to make our appearance. It is 10:43 by this that I have in my hand. We will give that 7 minutes. At 10:50, we will be making our appearance so that all the other brothers who are in other places can make their appearance at the same time that we are making ours. Also, for those who are making their offerings, and do this at least once anyway, put your email in the notes section on Cash App. We know people buy their email, and I don't get to see an email on Cash App. So put your email in there at least once so I can link up who that is. All right. That's all that we're going to do for tonight. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. And we got now 6 minutes. All right. Shalom.
Shalom.